I will make sure that I get my news coverage from a reliable source.
Hey players, good morning players. Hey players, welcome to a brand new episode of The Real Tea with DoubleDee. Of course, I am DoubleDee and we are on the GSMC Broadcasting Network. So excited to be back with you all tonight after a long hiatus, honey. Your girl was down and out last month, but I kept putting out those news stories, but there was no way I was going to be able to come here and do a whole hour with everything I was going through. So with that being said, with me coming on back for my weekly show, let's go ahead and hit you with this.
Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back, welcome back, welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. We always could spot a friend. Welcome back, and I smile when I think how you must have been. And
I just love this. Come on now, DoubleDee. I know you didn't just cough. I declare, honey, what a disgrace. I just love that song by John Sebastian. Don't y'all like that song? Anyway, I am so excited to be with y'all. Y'all know I had took off last month because my babies had the flu. I had the flu. We had a whole lot going on. I couldn't get my laugh on. I couldn't do anything, honey. There was no way I was going to be able to be here for an hour. But I decided tonight was going to be the night. So I got a jam-packed show for you guys. I am so excited to share everything with you all. I actually been holding some stuff in today so that way I can wait and come and give y'all a real good episode of The Real Tea with DoubleDee. And it's going to be here every Wednesday night at 10 o'clock Central Time. So make sure you guys subscribe on YouTube if you are not. Make sure you follow the page on Facebook if you haven't. And also, make sure you follow and subscribe my blackuratnews.com. Make sure you follow and subscribe subscribe to that, you guys, where I'll be writing news stories. And if you notice in some of my videos here lately, I have been using my very own writings to to share my stories, and I've been very excited and proud of that. So make sure you all subscribe to blackuratnews.com and come and join the party. Get your news directly from me. When I don't make a video, I'll have you a article available so you can enjoy those. All righty. So I just want to say hello to everybody out there in YouTube land and Facebook land. Thank you all for joining me tonight. I'm so happy to see everyone. I'm kind of shocked that I got anyone because I actually advertised on my TikTok, but I didn't advertise here because I was scared that we was going to have another storm blow through here and I wasn't going to be able to make it. So I was like, well, I could easily remove the video from Tickety Talk and nobody would notice. But on Facebook, it would kind of be hard, especially if they were waiting for me. So I said, I'm not going to post it there, but I'm so glad to see all of you all here joining me. You all know I'm just going to give you a reminder that I am recording this episode live for my podcast. I won't be able to interact with you all a whole lot in the comments, but I really appreciate you all. Make sure you talk amongst yourselves. I'm definitely looking at your comments and very excited to see each and every one of you. Thank you all for joining. Now, players, I hope y'all got y'all teacups, honey, because this tea tonight, this tea report, baby, it is piping hot, honey. Baby. So y'all know what's first up. Y'all know I got to let him have it because y'all know I can't do that real good on my videos. So let's go ahead and talk about Applehead Abbott, the political theater, wasting taxpayers' money, and all this BS that he got going on in Texas. I swear, honey, Texans do not deserve this. This is absolutely disgusting what Applehead Abbott is doing, all to play to his taint sniffing base. It is completely disgusting. Exactly what he is doing right now is a exact replica of what Frumpy Duck would do in a situation like this. Play to his base so he can make sure he get reelected. That is exactly what Applehead Abbott is doing. So let's go ahead and get down to the nitty gritty. We're going to talk about it, and then we're going to talk about the new developments that have happened. So last week, Applehead Abbott decided it would be a great thing to announce that he was going to send migrants back to Texas. Of course, they call not back to Texas, but bus migrants that were coming into Texas via the Texas border. He was going to bus them to Washington, D.C. His exact quote was, if President Biden doesn't want to come see, well, he didn't say president. Let me backpedal and pussy pop. He said, if Biden doesn't want to come and see the mess at the border, then we're going to bring the mess to him, to his doorstep. That's what Applehead Abbott said. So he said he's sick of these shenanigans. He's going to take the migrants up to Washington. And everybody really kind of thought it was political theater, thought it was some BS, that he wasn't going to do it, that he wouldn't be stupid enough to do this, because not only is it stupid, but it's illegal. You know, he has to have the permission of the migrant in order to do something like this, to execute this plan. He can't just take people and send them to Washington if that's not what their plans are, or if that's not what they're trying to do while they're waiting on an asylum. He can't do that. So as good as old Applehead Abbott felt, honey, we woke up this morning and Applehead Abbott had bussed, I think it was about 19 migrants up to Washington. And I declare, honey, it was a disgrace. According to one of the migrants, it was about a 36-hour ride, and they did give them food. He didn't explain what the food was. It probably was peanut butter and jelly sandwiches or something like that. But they did give them food or whatever. Then they just dropped them off in Washington and said, well, you know, good riddance. Don't forget the right. Basically what he did. So, but what was very telling to all of us, that a clear indicator that this was political theater, was the fact that he dropped them off right next to a news network station that had a lot of news networks in it. And of course, what was the news station that was conveniently there to break this news that Applehead Abbott had made good on his threat to send migrants back to up to Washington? Guess what news station it was, honey? Faux News. So Faux News is right there, honey. They conveniently ready and willing to record this. And as soon as they post this, Applehead Abbott is one of the first amongst the sharers to show that Applehead Abbott has did it. He has made good. He has done what he set out to do. I declare, honey, what a hot boo-boo shit-tay mess. Why Texas has more shit to be worried about than this. You know, I'm not saying that the border isn't an issue for Texans. I'm not saying that. But there is a way to go about doing this. And this all of these theatrics that Applehead Abbott is doing is completely unnecessary, and you know that it's just to pander to his taint sniffing base. So today, another thing that has come out of this, well, let me go to this first. So Jen Psaki immediately issues a statement after the migrants make it to Washington. So she issues this statement, and I'm going to try to read this for y'all. Okay, she says that, and I'm going to scoot up real close. Y'all can't see me anyway. Governor Abbott's unnecessary and redundant inspections of trucks transitioning ports of entry between Texas and Mexico are causing significant disruptions to the food and automobile supply chain, delaying manufacturing, impacting jobs, and raising prices for families in Texas and across the country. Local businesses and trade associations are calling on Governor Abbott to reverse this decision because trucks are facing lengthy delays exceeding 5 hours at some border crossings, and commercial traffic has been dropped by as much as 60%. The continuous flow of legitimate trade and travel and CBP's ability to do its job should not be obstructed. Governor Abbott's actions are impacting people's jobs and the livelihoods of hardworking American families. Wow. You know what I'm saying? Way to circle back around Jen Psaki. I love when she does this. So Jen Psaki goes back to what's important, which is what Applehead is doing at the border, which is, in my opinion, what he was trying to deflect from with this whole display today, which was what is going on at the border crossings with these truckers. They are protesting. They are completely fed up. Some of them are in their trucks for hours. So last week, when Applehead Abbott thought it would be a great thing to announce this plan to bus migrants back up to Washington, he announced the whole thing. It was a plan called the Lone Star Plan. And a part of the plan was to change DPS inspections at the border. Okay, so Applehead Abbott, he changed DPS inspections to be more lengthy. Basically, they are Border Control, U.S. Customs and Border Protections, and the state troopers are supposed to stop every truck that comes through the border, okay? They're not supposed to just do it randomly like they had been doing. They are supposed to stop every single truck at the border. And honey, when I tell you this has caused a hot boo-boo shitty mess, this has caused a hot boo-boo shitty mess. Now, I know y'all can't see this out in podcasting world, but I just want to show the players here what is going on, what is really going on at the border. I declare, honey, it's a disgrace. Well, I thought I was going to show y'all. Now, I know I didn't come back and didn't have the video. There it is. Child, miles and miles of truckers waiting to be inspected. So these people are, so the truckers are protesting. Commercial truckers bringing in produce and other goods from Mexico are protesting a new rule by Texas Governor Applehead Abbott requiring additional inspections, resulting in extremely long wait times and the shutdown of at least one border crossing. Mexico is the U.S. biggest source of agricultural imports, and the U.S. relies on the intricate but relatively speedy inspection system at the southern border to get goods through. The U.S. imported nearly $34 billion worth of agricultural products in 2020. Abbott told, like I told you, told state troopers to conduct additional inspections and all inspections. He claims on all trucks. He claims that he's trying to stop the drug cartel and, of course, the bringing in of the migrants. So he ordered state troopers to conduct additional inspections of commercial trucks. And it has been a hot boo-boo shit mess at the border. So that's, in my opinion, that's why Applehead Abbott did what he did today, because he had caused such a shit show at the border. And so today he did what he did. And then at the press conference today, Jen Psaki dropped another Psaki bomb when she was asked about the migrants at the border. And I pray, Lord Jesus, I hate it here. Did I get it? I know I got that one because there it is.
The first bus of migrants arrived in D.C. today. Texas Governor Greg Abbott making good on his promise to send migrants to the president's doorstep. I think you previously called it a publicity stunt. Is that still the view of the White House? Can you give us any reaction to this busload of migrants arriving here in D.C.?
Well, these are all migrants who have been processed by CBP and are free to travel, so it's nice the state of Texas is helping them get to their final destination as they await in their outcome of their immigration proceedings, and they're all in immigration proceedings.
I declare, honey, I love that woman. So they're welcome. It is what it is. They're welcome. But Applehead Abbott really needs to focus on the bullshit that he created at the border. So now, in response to all the backlash, Applehead Abbott wants to respond to what to everything. Applehead Abbott wants to respond to the bullshit that he created at the border. So what he has done is Applehead Abbott signed a memorandum today with Governor Samuel, and this is Spanish, so I'm going to try to see if I get this right. It is what it is. Y'all better take it the way it is. Governor Samuel Alejandro Garcia Sepulveda, whatever, of neighboring Mexican state Nuevo Leon. And this agreement will scale back the enhanced truck inspections at the border. Abbott said the agreement calls for increased security on the Mexican side of the border to prevent migrants from crossing illegally. DPS will continue to provide the practice of. DPS will return to provide. DPS will return to its practice of random trucks inspections at that port. Y'all check it out when he signed his agreement. Look at Applehead Abbott, shit-eating grin on his face.
President Biden must assert the national security priority that comes with being the commander-in-chief of the United States. Until then, Texas will use its own strategies to secure the border and continue to negotiate with Mexico to seek solutions.
I can't stand that motherfucker. He didn't have a shit-eating grin on his face this time. I must have got it confused with another clip. It still was a disgrace. I don't care what y'all say. I can't stand his ass. So anyway, he signs this agreement that will go back to the practices, but this is just at one port. That's all that is. That's just at one port. It's not at all the additional ports. The Texas border with Nuevo Leon is only 9 miles long and only includes Laredo, Columbia International Bridge. Today's deal does not apply to the rest of the Texas-Mexico border, which is 1,241 miles long and borders the Mexican states of Chihuahua. Look, I'm not going to try to read those. Y'all know I be fucking up names. But anyway, it governs the border about 5 other states in Mexico. Abbott said that he's willing to make similar deals with the governors from other Mexican states if they are willing to beef up border security as well. So I guess this is Applehead Abbott's plan. Applehead Abbott's plan is to try to work out agreements with the governors of those bordering states in Mexico so that they will beef up their security on their side and stop the people from coming in. So basically, this is going to stop asylum seekers from wanting to coming over to the other side, because there's going to be coming over to the United States, because there's going to be people going to be increased security there. So they're not going to be able to get through. I declare, honey, it's disgrace. Applehead Abbott has basically increased inflation with this bullshit. He has assisted in inflation with this bullshit, because if you got to understand supply and demand. You know what I'm saying? If there's no supply, if there's no supply and the demand goes up, they're going to go ahead and raise them prices on what we do have. It is absolutely disgusting. This bullshit that he has going on had traffic backed up for 3 hours in El Paso today. It's disgusting. It is disgusting. And he is doing absolutely nothing about it. You have the power grid that's going on in Texas. You have a lady that was just arrested for arrested based on this abortion bill, which she shouldn't have even been arrested in the first place. It is absolutely disgusting. So I wanted to show you all Beto's response to all of this rigmarole.
The cost is coming right here to the people of Laredo, to the folks who work, the truck drivers behind me who've been on this bridge almost all day, who on a typical day might be crossing 4 times, but right now are only crossing 1 time, and they get paid per crossing, by the way. So try hiring truck drivers if this goes on much longer. What you see behind me is not just stalled trucks. You see a supply chain problem that is the making of the governor of the state of Texas, making it harder for goods to get to the consumers in America who are waiting on them, making it harder for things to come into small business owners who depend on them to be able to literally stay in business and keep their employees on the payroll. What you see behind me is inflation. It's going to drive up prices here in the state of Texas and across the country. And what you see behind me, if this lasts much longer, are job losses throughout Laredo, which is a trade community that depends.
So, baby, it's time to flip Texas blue. I am sick of these shenanigans. I'm really hoping that Beto wins. I'm really hoping that Beto wins. I feel like it's his time. I feel like he could definitely do it. Beto has shown and proved over and over again, going all the way back to last year during the Texas freeze, his initiative to get people out and register to vote. Definitely, Beto, I believe that it's his time, and it's also Lee Merritt's time to be the Attorney General. All right, players. So that is enough of Texas, at least for now. That is enough for Texas. We're going to go ahead and scurry on over to our next topic. Y'all go ahead and grab them teacups, honey, because this next one is piping hot. Somebody do Florida next in the comments. Don't worry, I got something coming for Florida for you. You're going to love it here. Stay to the end for the Play Stupid Games, Win Stupid Prizes. All righty. So we're going to move right on, honey. And I have this one right here I've been saving all day. I wanted to do a tickety talk about it, but I said, no, I'm going to save it for the players who decide to come and chill with me tonight when I record the Real Tea with DoubleDee. So let's go ahead and discuss this asshat. Former frumpy dump chief of staff Mark Meadows and his bullshit. I declare, honey, what a fucking disgrace. Baby, Mark Meadows has got some problems, honey. Now, I don't know if anything's going to happen to Mark Meadows in a legal sense, because I really hate the way they pussyfoot around these politicians and stuff. Like, they really do not, hold them accountable for the most part when they do shit. Because honestly, if this had been like any one of us, honey, they would have been arrested already for voter fraud. So Mark Meadows has been removed from the North Carolina voter rolls for an investigation into election fraud, honey, voter fraud. So you imagine that Mark Meadows, who was one of the main pushers of the conspiracy theories and the big lie, is actually being investigated for voter fraud. I declare, honey, what a disgrace. So apparently, Mark Meadows has been removed from North Carolina's voter rolls. Apparently, the dumb Diddy was registered in 2 states. He was registered in Virginia, and he also registered in North Carolina. And he registered using the address of a single wide trailer that he has never lived in, probably never stepped foot around. Probably never even been in the neighborhood. Probably never been even in that direction. Probably never even farted and it the funk drifted on that street. But he was registered to vote at that address, and he thought nobody wasn't gonna notice, I guess. So they removed him from the voter rolls. Macon County Board of Elections Director confirmed April 12th that she had removed him the prior day. She consulted with the North Carolina Board of Elections staff in Raleigh after finding records that Meadow was registered in Virginia and North Carolina. She said, and I quote, "What I found was that he was also registered in the state of Virginia, and he voted in the 2021 election. The last election he voted in Macon County was in 2020. So, baby, this is a hot boo-boo shitty mess, and he is being investigated for voter fraud. I declare, honey, what a disgrace. So they said that Virginia records show that when Meadows registered in that state, he did not include information about his Macon County registration. Because of that, Virginia election officials did not notify North Carolina officials about the double registration. They said it's a normal, the registration of Mark Meadows' wife, Deborah, remains active for the address in North Carolina, but they never lived at that trailer and never owned that trailer. So again, this is a hot boo-boo shitty mess. So Mark Meadows, Frumpy Dump's chief of staff, the one that's going around here trying to figure out a way to find 11,000 votes, the one that's going around here texting Clarence Thomas' wife, Jenny Thomas, trying to telling her to keep God first, and that they were going to figure out a way to keep Frumpy Dump in office. The one that's texting with Frumpy Dump Jr. Of course, he's texting and talking with Frumpy Dump with these conspiracy theories. Human Skid Mark Giuliani. He's actually registered to vote in both places. And like I told you, if it had been you or I, we'd already be arrested. Like Crystal Mason, who cast a provisional ballot that was never counted. She did not read the small print of the form that said anyone who has been convicted of a felony cannot vote in Texas. She got 5 years. Pamela Mosley, Black Lives Matter founder in the state of Tennessee, she received 6 years for voting when she was told by her probation officer that she was off probation and she was now eligible to vote. Come to find out, she was not. Now, her conviction has since been overturned, but at the end of the day, she should have never got 6 years in the first place. I declare, honey, it's disgrace. Like I said, if that had been you or I, we'd be locked up and thrown away the key, especially if you look like me. Absolutely. You'd be throw away the key. But these white men that are being convicted of these voter fraud and shit like that, they getting slaps on the wrist. They getting 2 years probation. But somebody like Crystal and Pamela and probably a number of others that look like me are getting lengthy jail times. And the only way that they're getting these convictions overturned or getting any help and trying to get rid of these convictions is by the public, like people like me that sound the alarm. We to the public, inform the public and let the public know. Also, those change.org petitions that you all sign, those are the things that get these things get the help on these things. The public outrage, it does work in some cases. So this is that was definitely Pamela's case. Pamela Mosley was definitely one of those cases, because if it wasn't for that, I believe that lady would still be in jail, because that probation officer and that judge, they was for some reason out to get that woman. I declare, honey, it's a disgrace. So, baby, we'll see what goes on with Mark Meadows. It is absolutely disgusting what is happening with the former Frumpy Dump administration and the things that the lengths that they went through to try to overturn the election for Frumpy Dump. So, players, we're going to scurry on over here to the next story and grab your teacups. This tea, I'm not going to call it piping hot. I'm just going to say It's a story, but we're going to play the tea report anyway so I can drink something. All right, players. So let's go ahead and talk about what went on in New York, the Brooklyn, New York subway shooting. You know, I am just so disgusted by this entire thing. I hate it. I really hate it. I really hate this entire this entire thing. It's just wrong. You don't take your frustrations and what is going on in your life out on other people. You just don't do that. But I'm not going to be like all these other news stations that say that mental illness is, because that's what they automatically do when white people commit these mass shootings. They automatically start going to mental illness. I'm not sure, but signs are showing that he may have had a mental illness. Mr. Frank R. James, out in has been arrested, and he has not been charged. He'll be charged tomorrow, but he is going to be charged with, all right, DoubleDee, get your stuff together. He is going to be charged under the federal statute that prohibits terrorist and other violent attacks in mass transit systems. The federal government will also charge him with crossing state lines because he came from Philadelphia and went up to New York to commit this crime. He will face up to life in prison if convicted in the attack. There was 29 people injured, a total of 10 shot, some hit by shrapnel, things, whenever people trying to get out, stuff like that. So, or either they were grazed by bullets. So it's a very sad situation, and I hate to hear it. And again, I'm sending positive vibes and healing vibes out to all the victims, all the people that were on that train. I hope that they get the help that they need, because even if you weren't injured, being in a situation like that, you can definitely have some type of PTSD trauma from something like that. So I'm hoping that they all get the help that they need. Now, Mr. Frank, let's discuss him real quick. So this happened yesterday. This was breaking news, 8:30 in the morning. I actually broke the story on the Blackcurate News and the BlackCurateNews.com. And around 8:30 in the morning, a man, which we now find out was, well, I'm just going to say a suspect. Mr. Frank is the Frank R. James is the suspect in this case. And investigators believe that he showed up at the subway and had on a construction style vest, and he had a bag with him that had some smoke bombs in it. And while sitting on the subway, he actually opened fire into the subway. And it was chaos after that. There was some videos that were posted of the aftermath of the situation. Many people laying out, injured, hurt. It was very, 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 very chaotic and horrible to watch people in that state. So after this is over, the suspect has fled the scene. The police investigators come out to the scene, and they locate several weapons. They locate a 9mm handgun. They locate a U-Haul key, a key to a U-Haul van, and a hatchet, some more smoke bombs, and a few other things, and a trash can or whatever. So the investigators apparently used this U-Haul key to trace this U-Haul back to being rented in Philadelphia, and that's how they found Mr. Frank James. So Mr. Frank James was still on the run at that point. When they announced it last night, they still were calling him a person of interest in this case that they just wanted to speak to. But after they reviewed more information, this is according to investigators, they reviewed bank records, phone records. They also reviewed surveillance footage that showed Mr. Frank. I need to stop calling him Mr. Frank. That showed Frank. That's a Southern thing, you guys, Mr. and Miss in front of people's names. But anyway, that showed Frank getting out of that U-Haul van, going up into the subway and stuff like that. So they were able to upgrade his status from a person of interest over to a suspect. So they did that. And then apparently, now I've heard two different stories, so I'm going to tell you both of them. As far as him being arrested, they said that among the calls that came into Crime Stoppers was a person who was saying that they was the suspect themselves. According to police sources, Frank called the NYPD and told them that he's the man that they are looking for to turn, and he wants to turn himself in. He said, and I quote, "I think you're looking for me. I'm seeing my picture all over the news. I'll be around McDonald's." They say he gave a name and a description of what he was wearing, and he reportedly told police his phone was dying and that he would either be in McDonald's charging his phone or in front when police arrived. By the time police responded, he had left the McDonald's on East 6th Street and 1st Avenue. When officers didn't find him at the restaurant, they drove around the neighborhood looking for him. According to police sources, a man called in. This is the other story. A man called in when they recognized him walking down the street, and when police arrived, he was spotted standing at a kiosk charging his phone. He was arrested without incident, and I actually have that video of the arrest. And I'm going to show it to you in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
What did you do, my friend? Friend! Why did you do it? Why did you do it?
So there is him being arrested. It's so very it's just a terrible situation. 62 years old and you choose to commit a crime like this. Police are saying in their investigation there has been a plethora of videos and evidence showing Mr. Frank apparently being in some type of state of hate or disdain for the way America is going. There is some Facebook posts that he made here. He said he is frustrated with the way Black people are being treated in America, as well as a photo that was posted of Frumpy Dump. And it basically says anybody who doesn't believe Frumpy Dump, who believes Frumpy Dump, here it is. It says, if you say you like Trump because he speaks what's on his mind, the rest of us know that's a code for I like him because he's a fucking racist, and so am I. He also posted some YouTube videos. There was a YouTube video when he found out that Judge Ketanji Brown Jackson the Honorable Judge Ketanji Brown Jackson was married to a white man, and this was his response.
I had no idea with that African name that she would be married to a white man. One of my subscribers brought that to my attention. Yeah. Our black sister, Supreme Court Justice, power to the people, is married to a fucking white man.
I wish people just let that part go. I hate that. It's not your business. You know what I'm saying? But I digress, honey. So there's also a video of Frank saying that he has PTSD because of some things that he went through in his life. His sister actually told the New York Times that he's been on his own all his life, and that he's been arrested before. In the 1990s, he was arrested for 2 counts of making terroristic threats, and he was also convicted on a harassment charge and different things like that. But here's Ms. Frank speaking about his PTSD.
Over the fucking years, it's triggering a lot of. I'm on the drive, man. I'm just thinking because I'm heading back into the danger zone, so to speak. And it's triggering a lot of negative thoughts, of course, because I do have a bad, severe case of post-traumatic stress after the shit I've been through over the fucking years.
So yeah, I haven't seen one news station say anything about, his possible mental illness or anything like that. I actually saw the New York Post called him a madman. But we know that that's never the case when it's white people that commit mass shootings. Either way, if you have a mental illness, I know that it's hard to say things like this, but you need to go get help. You don't need to be going out shooting innocent people because, you got things going on. I know sometimes it can't be controlled, but at the end of the day, innocent people should not die or be injured or hurt because of your feelings and because of what's going on with you. That's completely selfish. And there's no positive words that I can say about Frank. If he is the person who did this, then he should be prosecuted to the furthest extent of the law. And I believe that wholeheartedly. Innocent people do not deserve to be hurt because you have things going on. And he better be thankful that nobody has died in this case, although he may serve the rest of his life in prison. And in New York, honey, you going straight to Rikers Island. Do not pass go. Do not collect $200. Let's lighten the mood with a little frumpy dump story. Come on. A Musty Marjorie story is coming on up right after this. Child, Musty Marjorie. Now, in a state like Georgia, you would think that Musty Marjorie would shut her stinking ass up. But no, not Musty Marjorie, especially when you're talking about veterans. You can't be talking bad about veterans in the state of Georgia that has over 600,000 veterans. That's just not what you're going to do. At least not do it and get reelected. That's just not going to happen. So apparently Musty Marjorie was talking with Lou Dobbs or whatever. Lou Dobbs is of all things, Lou Dobbs is a host of the Great American Show, a podcast on iHeartRadio. So you're gonna be a great American and then you're gonna bash veterans. I declare, honey, what a disgrace. So Musty Marjorie was on his show and they were talking, of course, and they were talking about military. And so he says, who in their right mind, let me make sure I'm saying this right. Was it Musty Marjorie that said? Musty Marjorie says, who in their right mind would join, Lou Dobbs says, who in their right mind would join the military? And Musty Marjorie responds and says, it's like throwing your life away. I declare, honey, what a disgrace. And she's running against a veteran in the state of Georgia, like I told you, that has over 600,000 veterans, and you're running against the veteran. And if they ever have a debate, if she ever has a debate with Marcus Flowers, if that's not the first thing that they bring up, baby, I'm going to throw my phone at the TV. I'm going to literally throw my phone at the TV because you're going to talk about veterans in a state over 600,000, either active military or veterans, and this is what you do. It is completely disgusting. Musty Marjorie says, not my son. I know a lot of young people don't want to have anything to do with that. It's like throwing your life away. I declare, honey, what a disgrace. It is an absolute disgrace. But what do you expect from Musty to the Must Pop Marjorie? It is a hot boo-boo shitty mess anytime you talk about her musty ass. All right, players. So we have another somber story we got to talk about here. We're going to just try to go through this because I just wanted to talk to you all about it. Patrick Lyoya, the 26-year-old native of the Democratic Republic of Congo, that was shot by Grand Rapids police officer in Grand Rapids, Michigan. Today, the Grand Rapids Police decided to have a press conference after over a week of pressure. They decided to go ahead and release the body camera footage from this fatal shooting. And it was very hard to watch this footage because in my mind, I'm thinking about Patrick's mother and Patrick's father. I think about Patrick's mother sitting on that ground, weeping, holding a photo of her son, saying his name, and then speaking in their native language, Swahili, speaking to her son. You know, it's been so sad and so disheartening, this case. And then to see the actual body camera footage and see what happened, it was absolutely disgusting. So I'm just going to kind of tell you all what happened on the body camera footage. The chief of police, Eric Winstrom, they had, so basically this video was combined several videos. They said a total of like 4 videos or whatever. There was surveillance footage, there was body camera footage, body worn camera footage, and then there was footage from the vehicle, and then there was also a cell phone video. The cell phone video, in my opinion, was the best video footage. Although, you know, I'm going to say this, if you are a witness to a crime, I know that it may be shocking, but if you're not going to be doing anything to help the situation, your job is to stay focused and focus on the camera. You know what I'm saying? Focus on, make sure you're shooting, recording what is going on. Don't be looking all off and all that kind of stuff, because honey, you mess things up. I declare, honey, come on now. So but the cell phone footage was good because it did capture the actual shooting, when the body camera footage did not, the body worn camera footage did not, because the body camera actually fell off. I mean, not fell off, but he did say it fell off. It fell off and fell into the ground in the mud, is what he said. But it was switched off before that. It was deactivated before that. The chief of police says that he believes that during the struggle between the two, the button was pressed for 3 seconds to deactivate the camera. I don't know if I believe that. So anyway, so they pull over Patrick for a plate that didn't match the vehicle that he was driving. And Patrick, once they pull over, Patrick immediately gets out of the car. I don't know why the officer actually ran the plate. That's something that I guess we'll find out in the investigation, because Eric, the chief of police, said he was there just basically on the use of force. He wasn't there to talk about the actual case. Although I feel like he should have had somebody, an investigator or somebody from the state police there to give us an update on the case, but I digress, honey. So anyway, so they stop and Patrick immediately gets out the vehicle. Once he gets out the vehicle, the police officer comes over to him and tells him that the plate doesn't match the car, and Patrick is looking at him. He's like, huh? What did I do? What did I do? You know, da, da, da. Then he tells him again, and then he tells him to get his license, ask him, does he have a license? He also recognizes that Patrick's native language is not English. So he asks him, did he speak English? And Patrick says yes. Now, I don't know if Patrick was saying yes to the license or was he saying yes to the English portion, but I'm going to move on. So he asks Patrick to get his license. Patrick opens the door and tells the passenger of the vehicle to get his license. I guess the guy couldn't find the license or something went on in that situation. So Patrick starts to proceed around the vehicle to get his license. I don't know if he was going to get his license or not. I'm going to assume that he was, because he was going in that direction. The officer then immediately says, put your hands behind your back. You know, put your hands behind your back. Patrick runs. So then a struggle ensues between the two of them. And a struggle ensues between the two of them. The officer ends up pulling out his taser. When he goes to tase Patrick grabs the taser. You can actually see that on the video. He grabs the taser, but he didn't point the taser at the officer. It was just pointed at the ground because they're struggling over it. The taser ends up deploying again into the ground. They ended up on the ground a couple of times. Patrick ends up getting up. The officer catches up with him. He's on the ground again, and then the struggle ensues. Now, the struggle continues. If you all would like to see that, I will show it because I have the ending part of what happened and how the shooting actually occurred. If you guys put that in the comments, I'll let you all see it. Of course, you can't see it out in the podcasting world, but if you'll let me know if you want to see that, because I couldn't play it on my news report, I will play it here for you all if you want to see it. So let me know in the comments if you want to see it. I will warn you, viewer discretion is advised. The video that I have is disturbing because it does show the actual shooting. If you don't want to see it, we can just move on past it. I'm waiting for someone to comment. But so Patrick and they are struggling. I mean, really, really struggling on the ground. Really struggling on the ground, the two, but the officer ends up getting Patrick's on his stomach. And when the officer gets Patrick on his stomach, this happens. I'm going to go ahead and show it. I'm sorry you all can't see it out in podcasting world, but you can hear what's going on between them.
Let go, taser. Drop taser. Get back! Get back!
He shot Patrick in the head, in the back of the head. He shot Patrick in the back of the head. So, after that, backup arrives and, they go from there. It's absolutely disgusting. The chief of police did not want to release the name of the officer. He said he won't release it unless he's charged. So the officer has been placed on paid administrative leave, the standard, pending investigation. I just feel like that is an absolute, I feel like Patrick was on his stomach. I feel like he could have held him there until backup arrived, because if you hear, you can hear. And I mean, it was like 1 minute and the guy was there. The backup was there. They could have easily gotten him under control because he already had him on his stomach. I just feel like, there was a way that could have been avoided. You know what I'm saying? That was a way that situation could have been avoided. I am sending prayers and positive vibes and condolences out to the family of Patrick Lyoya. Like I said, it's been devastating to watch his family, who are not natives of this country, go through something like this. They have retained Ben Crump as their attorney. Hopefully, actually, the chief of police actually brought up Ben Crump in the press conference today. So Ben Crump got that clout. Y'all know he does. So we'll see what happens in this investigation. One thing I will mention before I go into my last segment is that I was very disgusted to see that the businesses of Grand Rapids actually boarded up their businesses today, because they thought, even though there has been nothing but peaceful protests since the start of this, it really bothered me that they did that. I thought that was really just a horrible look. You've had people peacefully protesting. The mother and the father have already seen this video. They've been screaming it from the mountaintops that Patrick was shot in the back of the head as he was laying on the ground. Everybody already knew what we was going to see today. For them to do that, I just didn't agree with it. I thought it was wrong. I could be wrong in my thinking, but I just didn't think that that was okay. And I thought it was a horrible, horrible look for the city to do something like that, for businesses, local businesses in that area. And then, you know, one of them actually had Patrick's name up on the board that was boarding up their business. I didn't think that that was okay, honey. Oh, well, so again, positive vibes, prayers going out to the family of Patrick, Lyoya, as well as the people of the community that are impacted by this. It's just so sad. And I hope that we get justice. I pray for justice. Once again, I hope that I am in 6 months or a year or so covering the trial of this officer that shot Patrick in this way, because it absolutely could have been avoided if he just had waited a little bit longer. So we're going to head into the last segment of the night, guys, and I think you're going to love it here, because you know what time it is? Players, it's time for another riveting episode of Play Stupid Games, Win Stupid Prizes. Oh, players, let me get my glasses on so I can see it. Okay, child, I declare, honey, what a disgrace. So there was someone in the comments, and I hope that they stuck around, because they asked me to do Florida, meaning they wanted me to speak a little bit about Ron DeSantis and Floridians. So I am going to speak about Ron DeSantis right now, but tonight he is the recipient of today's stupid prize. And you know who actually awarded him the stupid prize? His best buddy, Applehead Abbott. I declare, honey, it's a disgrace. So, this was Ron DeSantis last week after Applehead Abbott announced his Lone Star plan, which was the plan to bus migrants up to Washington. Let's take a listen.
But I would absolutely support fortifying the border if the states join together and do it. You know, they say it's the federal government's role, you can't do anything. It probably is the federal government's role, but the question is that the federal government just simply defaults on their responsibility. Are the rest of us just defenseless? We can't defend, our own states and our own communities? I don't think.
So Applehead Abbott completely supports, Ron DeSantis completely supports Applehead Abbott in his theatrics, honey, in his political theater. And you heard him, and you remember back when Ron DeSantis had sent some of some of the National Guard from Florida down over to Texas to help with the so-called border crisis. So I wonder how Ron DeSantis is going to feel about this.
Said that they know that they are a prop in all of this, but they wanted to come anyway because this allows them to get a ticket to where they're going. Some of these migrants told me that they want to go on to Miami. They said they are very excited to be here. They feel welcomed. We're here in the food court at Union Station, where a lot of them have been getting something to eat, because this was a 34-hour bus ride, which they...
You heard him. The migrants are going to take their asses right on over to Florida. I declare, honey, what a disgrace. So while you're supporting Applehead Abbott in his charter bus efforts, just be ready to take in some of these migrants that are coming from Texas, because they're going to be scurrying their asses right on over to Florida. I wonder if Ron DeSantis is smiling with glee now. I wonder if he absolutely supports Applehead Abbott's efforts. Child, what a disgrace. Well, players, I really hope y'all enjoyed tonight's episode. It was really, really good to be back. I really, really enjoyed you all. Thank you all for coming. I hope that you really, really enjoy this episode. And I'll be back next week, I promise, unless there's something going on where I can't be here. I'm going to be here every Wednesday night at 10 o'clock Central Time, so make sure y'all come and join me. Make sure you all go and subscribe to the blaccuratenews.com so that way you don't miss any news reports. And also, check this podcast out. Check this podcast out wherever you stream your podcast. I promise you'll enjoy it. Well, players, I love you guys. I hope y'all have a good night. Thank you for joining, and I'll see y'all next week. Take care. Bye.